Good morning, students. Welcome to the subject of business management, and we are dealing with our last unit, that is all about the PPC, right? Production planning and control. In the previous sessions, we have already dealt with production planning as different function as well as production control. In today's session, we are going to see the PPC, that means the production planning and control together, right? So what is the introduction, or what is the meaning of PPC, that we will see it here. Two functions are made together, and they are combined, and a merged function of PPC works in the organization, right? So PPC aims at meeting the production to the best quality, quantity and time. So what is the function of PPC? Then production planning and control is such a function which aims at meeting the production to the best quality, quantity and time. For this purpose, various scientific functions are designed and undertaken. Right, to complete this whole function, you may find it only the three letters, that PPC, right? But when it comes to implementing this, there are so many scientific function that it involves while planning or while controlling the different activities of the manufacturing unit, right? So it undertakes the scientific functions like routing, scheduling, dispatching and follow-up. See, each term here has the different meaning, right? As we can see it, let us start with, say, the function of routing. So what is routing? Then routing means mapping the events. That means we come to know exactly what is the route of production, what are the different stages of production, and likewise we can perform. When it comes to scheduling is always related to time, so it is time taken to complete the events. Dispatching means issuing the orders. If you want to produce something, then there are orders that are required. That means we need to issue the orders and instructions related to the raw materials, or how we need to produce the raw materials, and whatever the guidance and say the instructions required, they can be taken up under this function of dispatching. And then at the last comes up is follow-up. So follow-up is to check all that, to see and to check that the prior three functions are performed and they are taken up correctly according to the plans, right? So routing is mapping the events, whatever we want to take up for production, that those things are being say mapped properly, those things are being stationed properly, and that is what is said to be routing, and we create the path through routing, right? Scheduling is again with the time taken to complete each job. Dispatching means to give. So here dispatching is related to the orders and instructions, maybe about the raw materials, maybe about the method or whatever instructions or things that are required to complete a job. And follow-up is kind of the kind of check, that is that the prior three activities are taken properly and with the the proper specifications, time limits, everything is being taken into consideration. So these are the four things that are very important in the PPC. It will also come up as the process of PPC further when we come to the next areas. So now we know that PPC comprises, that means it is made up of planning, routing, scheduling, dispatching and follow-up functions in the production process as organized. The movement of materials, performance of machines and labor are subdivided, directed and coordinated so as to meet the quantity, quality, time and place. That means when we make the arrangements and when we check everything related to materials, related to the performance of machines, labor, their activities, their subdivided activities, direct them, coordinate, and we meet with the special quantity and quality, maybe the time and place, everything is taken care of, then that function becomes the PPC function. So it is a very wide function consisting of so many activities together. So when we are deciding the objectives, then we can say that the decide the nature and the it is used. What is PPC for? Then the first objective is to decide the nature and magnitude of the various inputs to manufacture desired outputs. That means we decide that how much, what will be the nature, how much inputs would be required, say related to raw materials, related to manpower, machines or whatsoever it takes as inputs, how much that would be required so as to produce the desired output. That we can decide because of PPC, right? PPC has planning and controlling together to coordinate the labor, machine and equipments in the most effective and economic manner. Obviously, the purpose of PPC is to coordinate. Coordinate what? Maybe the labor work, maybe the machines, equipments, everything in the most effective and economic manner, so that whatever you have invested, we can get the best out of it. Next comes up is establishing the target. That means here we establish the target and check this against the actual performance. This is very important, which is a part of controlling, which we have seen in the earlier lecture, right? That it also establishes the target. That means preset norms are there, preset planning is there, and then the actual performance when done is checked or compared with the actual targets or the preset plans, and then we can find out the errors and we can easily remove them. So ensuring smooth flow of materials by eliminating bottlenecks, if any, in the production can also be the one of the objective of PPC. That means smooth flow of material is advisable, smooth flow of material is required, and that is being done through the PPC work that is taken up by eliminating bottlenecks. Means we do not take up any say congestion. Bottlenecks we try to avoid. That means entry and exit are not being congested of the material, maybe the machines or maybe labor, and so whatever is being produced, it is produced perfectly. That is the purpose of PPC, right? The last and important objective is utilizing the underemployed resources and to manufacture the desired output of the right quality and quantity at the right time. So we are employing all the resources, whatever it takes to manufacture the desired output. We are undertaking that, we are trying to see it, we are using it, and we are trying to see the right quality and quantity at the right time are being produced. So that is the these are the set of objectives with which the PPC is undertaken under the manufacturing organization. Here we are coming up to few of the advantages, like it helps to coordinate all the phases. Next, it results in higher quality, better use of resources, reduced inventory levels, short manufacturing cycles and fast delivery. Next, better customer services are there, decreased production cost can be there with the higher satisfaction, and there can be low capital investment. Again, there can be minimization of the breakdowns, a minimum idle time is there is even a smooth flow of work through proper plant facilities. That means everything is being utilized. Next comes up is it improves the employees' discipline and morale in the organization, because with the help of PPC everyone knows as to what has to be produced, in how much quantity it has to produce, likewise, right? So it can achieve the performance in the quality, flexibility in functioning, and dependability can be increased or dependability can be reduced, right? Quality can be increased and flexibility can be maintained. So this is what is known as the say the advantage of PPC. If there are set of advantages, definitely there are going to be the limitations also. So once the manufacturing unit is taking up with PPC, it has to undergo and check out that whether it is also trying to see that these limits are overcome. That means આપણ જે પણ મર્યાદાઓ છે PPCની એને ધ્યાનમાં રાખીને જો PPC ફંક્શન ડ્રો કરવામાં આવે, ડિઝાઇન કરવામાં આવે, તો it can give the best result, right? So it is based on the assumption that if these assumptions go wrong, then PPC is ineffective. That means because it is based on planning. So if planning is not proper, then the whole function of PPC, which may be howsoever scientific, time consuming or say expensive, it will go in vain. So that should be kept in mind, that no assumption should go wrong. But there are all chances કે assumptions હોય, ધારણાઓ હોય તો એ ખોટી પુરવાર થાય. Next, it plans are rigid. Employees may resist the changes in the production system because the things are planned, pre-planned, right? At times employees may find it little rigid, and that is why they may resist the change, right? PPC is time consuming and complex, as I told you earlier also. Thus it may not always be affordable. એક તો time consuming process છે, પ્લસ મેન્યુફેક્ચરિંગ કઈ પ્રકારનું છે એના આધારે એની કોમ્પ્લેક્સિટી પણ વધી શકે છે. So at times it becomes affordable to only a few units, and all of the unit cannot take up the advantage of PPC. Next, when the environmental factors changes like very rapid customer preference, change in customer preferences, maybe government policies and fashion changes, styles etc. changes, then PPC implementation becomes extremely difficult, right? So PPC and its implementation becomes difficult when the environmental factor affecting the manufacturing unit changes, right? So that is it. Next comes up are the elements or the scope of PPCs. And see, when we are talking about PPC, it starts from the very beginning till the end. So its scope is very wide, like control of planning, control over materials, see tooling, manufacturing capacity, manpower, routing, estimating, loading and scheduling, dispatching and expediting, inspection and evaluation, cost control. In fact, each and every activity is being is a part of PPC, and that is why it is a very sorry, wide function. Next comes up are the methods, right? We can call it methods of doing the PPC, or maybe it is a procedure, logical procedure of performing production planning and control, or it can also be called as functions, right? So to begin with, it is routing. It is the first and the most important as well as difficult task. It means determining the path or the route on which the whole manufacturing operation will travel. So it is very important from that point of view, right? Next comes up is it is like by framing such a sequence of the operation to follow, it becomes easy and transparent as to how the manufacturing will be taken up. So routing gives a kind of overall idea as to what is the sequence of the operations, right? So it becomes very easy once you know the sequence. It becomes very easy and transparent for everyone to check the manufacturing at each stage. It includes the following activities like deciding the volume of production, deciding the use of manpower, machines, materials, say determining the type, number and sequence of production operations, even deciding the place where the production is to be carried out. In short, routing determines what, how much, where and what to produce. So overall idea, રૂટિંગ કરવાથી આખું મેન્યુફેક્ચરિંગ છે એ કઈ રીતે પરફોર્મ કરશે એનો આઈડિયા આવી જાય છે, રાઈટ? સો વોલ્યુમ ઓફ પ્રોડક્શનનો ખ્યાલ આવે છે, યુઝ ઓફ મેન પાવર, મશીન્સ, મટીરિયલ્સ, what will be the number and the sequence of the production operations, even the place where the production is to be carried out, right? How much production is to be carried out, where and at what place, everything is very clear and it is very well framed, and that is why routing gives the clear cut idea as to how the performance would be there. Next comes up is scheduling. See, the series matters here, and that is why it is a process. So first the routing is done, then the scheduling. Scheduling is what you are deciding each and every activity with the with its time limit, right? So in production control, scheduling plays the important role, and it means the arrangement of the different operation involved in the area of priority. Here we are fixing the time and date when each operation is to start and get completed. Thus, scheduling involves the amount of work to be done and the time when each element of work will start and end up. Everything we come to know when we are studying the scheduling chart, that when it will start, at what minute it will get end, and within that time period what work will be done. Thus it is the chart showing the starting and the completion of each operations that is performed in the organization or maybe the unit, right? It includes the following activity like allocation of the quality and the rate of output of the plant or department, allocation of the time allowed to each operation and its sequence. It helps to face the starting and even the completion of the time, right? When we are taking up with scheduling, there are different types of scheduling that are produced or that are being set up depending upon the requirement. Like master scheduling is there, it records the time by the process and it is prepared plant wise. So it's a kind of blueprint which shows what are all the types of operations and what will be the time taken by each one of them. Next is operation schedules. Under this we can come to know about the time taken for each individual operation, and which is fixed, right? So the chart shows the time of starting and completion for each and every operation, and that is why it is operation schedule. The third type of scheduling is about the detailed operation schedules, wherein it expresses the time taken and completion time in detail for each elemental job. That means whatever the operations are there, whatever the smallest type of say activity may be there, when it starts and when it gets over is taken care of. So it describes the time specifically that is consumed during a particular operation. So two main considerations in scheduling functions are: it should be simple and flexible, considering the necessary provisions for unforeseen contingencies like power breakdowns, absence of workers, strikes, rush of orders, etc. must be made, right? So two main things are to be taken up. It should be simple also and it should be flexible also, and so many considerations related to maybe like sudden power breakdown, if the workers are not present, if any kind of strikes are going on, or maybe any kind of rush orders are there, then how it will be managed, that will change, and that is what is known as the scheduling, because it is related to time taken to start and complete the work. Third process or third stage comes up is known as, even we can call it function, so that is what is known as dispatching. Now what happens exactly here? The functions of routing and scheduling are a kind of paperwork only, so no work have actually started up till now. But dispatching is such a phase wherein actual performance begins, right? So dispatching is the function of actual performance, as it translates proper work into actual performance or maybe actual production in accordance with the content provided in the routing and scheduling sheets. It deals with the production activities through the orders and instructions. It also involves like granting of the permissions to proceed any kind of work in the plans according to whatever has been laid down earlier, right? So this is thus it is a kind of issuance of the orders. Dispatching શું છે તો કે orders issues થાય છે, instructions issue થાય છે, અને communication થાય છે workforce સાથે, that how they are going to perform the work, right? So as to meet the deadlines with the proper quality, quantity and time period. So when we are trying to understand dispatching, these are the various functions of dispatching. What exactly happens? Here we are assigning the work. There can be a movement of the material, tools, fixtures that can be told or can be transmitted or can be communicated to the workers, right? Realizing the orders, instructions and other commitments, even at times guiding and controlling the machines, recording the start and end time of the job, even controlling over the progress can be made, and even the checking of overlapping of the plans and schedules can be done. Means with the help of dispatching we can check that the plans and the schedules are not overlapped, so that can be done, and easily we can go through the whole manufacturing process very easily, right? And we can even make the necessary arrangements if required. There can be also centralized and decentralized kind of dispatching according to the requirement. Yes, that can be. Alright, the last function that comes up is about the follow-up or expediting, right? Now what is this function? So it is the activity last in the series, but it is the most important because it checks. It is a kind of controlling activity. So follow-up means to see whether the work is carried out according to the plans and scheduling or not. It ensures that materials, tools and equipments are supplied to the job at the right time, to the right person in the right quantity. Maybe the follow-up is the means by which we can come to know what is the progress and execution of the plans, which is evaluated from time to time, right? Even during the evaluation, if any variations are found, then efforts are made to eliminate or minimize in the future. So many a times responsibility is given to the group of persons which are known as follow-up men, and their work is this, to see and to check and to take the follow-ups whether everything is being undertaken with the as per the desired plans or not, right? So expediting can be organized according to the product or the process that is decided by the company, right? And then what is important is taking the corrective steps depending upon the follow-up. So taking corrective actions is very last step, and it is very very crucial stage, because what happens here is that taking corrective actions is very important to make any system productive and effective, because if you are just checking, you are making the follow-ups, you are finding the deviations, but we are not taking any kind of corrections or corrective steps, that means કોઈ સુધારાત્મક પગલાઓ જો ન લેવામાં આવે તો કોઈ પણ પ્રોસેસનો પીપીસીના આખા પ્રોસેસનો કોઈ પણ ફાયદો, કોઈ પણ એડવાન્ટેજ રહેતું નથી. સો through it deviations can be rectified and more realistic routes can also be suggested. So effective and optimum utilization of all the resources can be facilitated with the help of corrective steps. So corrective steps can be considered as one of the very important area of the PPC. So when we are talking about the process of PPC, as discussed, right, 4 elements are there, 4 functions, or we can call it even the 4 procedures, starting with routing, scheduling, right, dispatching the orders, and making the follow-ups. After the follow-ups, we try to see that corrective steps are taken up, and then with the due corrective steps, check is there, that we can have the more effective, more rectified, and maybe the realistic routes which we will be performing for the future. So here we are finishing with the topic of PPC. We are ending up with the 4th unit of production and control, planning and production control, right, and we are ending up with the unit as well as we are ending up with the syllabus. So till we meet next, it's a goodbye from my side. Take care of yourselves. Thank you.